I've been away from the office for a few days. Scoozy.
That'll happen.
Alright. To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by PB and Joey. Simple, honest, and delicious. Go to pbandjoey.com for more information. $35 or more is free shipping. Go to pbandjoey.com for more information. pbandjoey.com.
Stan, now more than ever, you need to understand the importance of saving money.
But Grandma said I could use this money to buy whatever I want.
Okay, next please. Go on, Stanley.
I got a $100 check from my grandma, and my dad said I need to put it in the bank so it can grow over the years.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
Yeah, that's funny.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
What's all gone?
The money in your account. It didn't do too well. It's gone.
What do you mean? I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.
Well, what can I do to get back
I'm
my...
sorry, sir, but this line is for bank members only.
I just opened an account.
Do you have any money invested with this bank?
No, you just lost it all.
Then please stand aside for people who actually have money with us. Next, please.
Hey!
Hello, Mrs. Farnickel. How are you today? Making a deposit, are we? Great. We can just put that into your retirement account and make it go to work for you, and it's gone.
What?
Sorry, yeah, that's gone. Please step aside for people who actually have money with the bank. Next, please.
Dad!
Hey, I'm trying to teach my son the importance of savings. You already lost his money? Oh, Mr. Marsh, don't worry. We can just transfer money from your account into a portfolio with your son, and it's gone! This line is for people who have money with the bank only. Please step aside.
Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, streaming live from the Spare Parts Studios. You can find me on Instagram at POSSarcasm, or if you won't be my friend, you can go to...
Boys, we have a bit.
Shut the fuck up! You can go to facebook.com/positivesarcasm. You can follow me only on the Instagrams at positive_sarcasm. You can also hit up the new YouTube channel, Positive Sarcasm Podcast. I'm going to turn that down slightly and mute it. John Krasinski in studio this week. Musician and vegan, told this all-around great guy. He's 6'5", so the ladies love his cock. Michael Wingate Civi is in the studio. What are those initials?
What
Michael Wingate, MWS. MWS. It's like an accounting firm.
Mm-hmm. I have a lawyer's name.
What?
I have a lawyer's name.
Oh, you must be Jewish. Alright. What else? Dude, I fucking ate way too much garlic this week. You know that guy?
Garlic.
Huh?
There's never too much garlic.
Yeah, there is. You know that guy who's like defaming the inside of his car, and it's like 30 below out in the middle of New Hampshire, and he rolls his window down. It's like, yeah, dude, that dude is up to no good. He just blasted all over his two-door. You know what's annoying? Now that I drive that stupid convertible out there. Well, obviously it's under covers for the wintertime. But now I find it blasphemous when I see a dude driving in like an old muscle car, or just a muscle car in general in the wintertime, just stomping around, there's salt on there. And it upsets me. It's like, you couldn't go out and afford to buy another car nowadays.
If you have that car, you should have another car.
Yeah.
You should be able to have another car. I don't think you deserve that car if you can't afford another car.
I know. I was borderline homeless 2 years ago, again, and I still have two cars. Granted, one of them doesn't have power steering at the moment.
I am broke. I'm broke as shit. I'm a musician. I have two
Really?
cars.
Those two are never connected to one another. I'm a starving artist.
I'm tortured, okay?
Alright, here's the thought. Do you remember your first gig? Or you remember, at least, let's go hit the Wayback Scooby-Doo machine, okay?
Alright.
Okay, that's how I should have introduced you. It's fucking, okay. I also have a friend who looks like DJ Khaled, but that joke's hacky.
Oof.
So do you remember like your first gig?
Like the first paid gig?
Even before that.
Yeah.
Like when you almost, because I don't know you back then, but almost like you're like the begging for change. You know, like, okay, I'll set the perfect example. We'll go as far back as we possibly can before I make it annoying.
Okay.
Like a comic who pays to go on stage, open mic night, that far back when nobody is out there. Do you remember that moment
Yeah, I was like 14.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. At a little bar in Rochester, New Hampshire. In the upstairs, they had open mic nights, and that was like the first. I went with my high school best friend, and we went and played like 3 songs together, and that was like the first one.
What are the songs you played?
Oh,
If you can remember, it's okay.
One of them had to have been Tom Petty Breakdown. That was like a standard.
Okay.
Of the two of us way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I could not tell you the other ones.
What was that feeling like? Do you remember, like, it's like the beginning of the Hunger Games, when you're just waiting for them to go out there and kill all the kids?
My favorite part.
Did you have a similar feeling before you were about to go out there, not expecting what was the unknown at this point? You're about to go out there, you know, piddle on your fucking guitar in front of who knows is out there. And what was I don't know, what was it like at 14? Because I'm a late bloomer.
Man, I imagine, because I can't remember, I smoked a lot of weed between 14 and 26.
Okay.
So I imagine it was, I mean, like, you get a certain excitement anytime you go on stage. But, like, way back in the day, it's like the fear of God. You know, like, you want so much to be liked. You're a preteen. You're like a teenager, and you just want people to like you.
Dude, I'm 36. I'm feeling the exact same thing right now. I have an audience, but I always think like I don't have an audience. But I do. Like, there are actually people that listen to this, and
There are?
yeah. I mean,
I thought we were just talking.
They're from Iran and Kosovo.
That's fine.
Still.
I just released this single, and like 3 people in America have listened to it, but
Yep.
I've got like 10 sales in Russia and Germany and Japan.
Cool.
I don't know why.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's a weird feel. It's like, really? There? It's like when people from Texas hit me up for posing music. I'm like, really? There? So it was, you said it was terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
I can relate to that when I was doing that competitive fitness bullshit, which I'll probably end up going back to one day because I'm a shallow cunt. The idea of all this, you're behind the stage, you don't know who's out there, and you're about to, whether you're bearing your freaking, your fake bake tan, or you're bearing your soul on a guitar or whatever,
mm-hmm.
I would assume it's like the same shit. Just going out there, the terrifying, and then you're out there. Does it all go away? Like, you're blinded by all of it once you go up on stage?
Dude, it took a lot of years to make it all go away. There was many years of like forming my identity as a musician, where you get up on stage and you're playing for people, and the nerves do not leave you. But with time and a lot of experience, it becomes like a second nature kind of thing. Like, I play a lot. I play a lot.
I know. I did see that you were you're always posting your fresh vibes.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
were going to play there often. I have no. Where do you play? No, we'll do the timeline route, because I obviously can be like, I'm like fucking chasing seagulls on this podcast.
That's
Hey,
great.
look. So you got through your first set.
Uh-huh.
What was that? Did you rush to get off stage? You played 3 songs with your bros, and then you bolted.
Pretty much, yeah. And we were too young to even like be in the bar, but they let us be in the bar. We were kids, like
Yeah.
at a fucking bar. Like,
Bar to be named later.
oh yeah, it was the 103.
That's probably not even around
No,
anymore.
it's not. It's not around anymore.
Yeah, they got shut down for serving to underage kids. So you got through it. You were probably kind of excited though, weren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's the biggest. What was that Seinfeld joke? The number 2 fear is death. Number 1 fear is public speaking. So the idea is that to get out there, that's basically everyone's biggest fear, is to get out there and to put themselves in a position where they could be called wrong, called racist, called shitty, called, not funny, not talented.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that scares me every time I turn on the live stream, or whenever I was going out there freaking in boarding shorts, or the idea that this is going to go, like, if this goes places and I end up doing like a live podcast at some little shitty bar somewhere, that's a horrifying feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's why the internet is so popular. It's why people love Facebook, because they don't have that fear. They can hide behind screens.
But it's not real. I don't care if I see like 100 subscribers on Podcast Addict or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real until you walk up on stage, you open up your laptop, and there's like 20, 30 people sitting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different experience. After a while, you're sort of like a junkie to it, right? Because I'm coming from a completely different angle, where I'm trying to gain. It's almost like I'm coming from a completely different trail. I feel like I'm taking the easy route at times. Because I hear what these not the podcasters, excuse me. I hear what these comics, because I try to see things through a comics lens.
Sure.
I think the only people who can justify seeing through the same exact lens are musicians. Especially the acoustic ones who kind of have to do everything themselves.
Yeah, it's a lot of DIY. It's you really got to self-produce.
After your first, I guess your first gig, where did you go after that? At 14? What was your mindset at that point?
I wanted to be famous, man. I wanted to be a rock star. So and I was terrible. Do not get me wrong. I was not some guitar prodigy. I'm still not very good.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a rock star, so I joined a band, and we played high school functions and played private parties. People would book us because for some reason the rest of the members of the band, who are all the same age, were actually very good. So I was just kind of up there pretending and playing rock star.
Would you play acoustic or something?
Yeah, actually for a while I played an electric guitar and kept the volume off. And I sang.
So you Britney Spears the whole thing
for the first year, yeah. And then I picked up bass, and by the end of high school era, I was playing piano, and I was playing actual guitar with the volume up, and
no lessons.
Well, I didn't ever take formal lessons. No, I took a lesson here and there with various people over the years. I think I've taken 2 guitar lessons, 3 guitar lessons in my life.
So how did you get into the paid? How did you go from that, being that kid who just kind of wandered into the bar that night and started playing? How did it end up becoming a paid gig? Was it just because you became good, you had some notoriety when you were playing high school gigs and shit?
I just wanted it.
And so you just went and asked?
Yeah, I pushed for it. I made phone calls and wrote emails and pushed for it.
How bad was the rejection? How bad was it, if at all, and how bad or good did you feel during that process?
In Rochester, there was not a lot of rejection. Not a lot of rejection in Rochester, just because there's not much out there, and there certainly wasn't when I was younger. So anybody that could have some kind of talent, anybody that could strum a few chords and play a few songs and entertain 3 people, they could get a gig.
So it was the luck factor of they'll take whatever they could get.
Yeah, absolutely lucky.
Because I know around here there's a lot of paying gigs and stuff. I haven't been out there a lot lately, but there are a lot. This is the land of the cover band.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's kind of selling out, but that is how a lot of people are making money on the ground right now.
So now that because you've been doing, I noticed it for at least about 2 to 3 years that you've been doing it solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to some of the locations. There's some okay locations down there, but most of downtown seems to be a fucking ghost town. Now, where do you? Yeah. I mean, quote me if I'm wrong, but quote me if I'm wrong. Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong.
We'll quote you either way.
Let me just tell me just give me a dictionary, will you? And so now you follow the same path. You just try to sell yourself. You go out there. And you ask, you guys got spots for me? How do you approach that sensitive topic of, hey, I'm gonna come here and strum my shit, and you're gonna pay me?
Well, that's the issue. Is a lot of places the pay scale hasn't changed from the 70s. A band of 4 or 5 guys would go and play an hour show at a bar and get paid, $100 in 1973, right? Or even $200-$300 in the 70s. Now, a band of 4 or 5 guys will go and play a bar in 2020 for $100 for 3 hours. They have been paying less and less over the years to musicians because the demand is kind of going down. People aren't going out to see live music anymore unless they're paying $300 to go see fucking One Direction in a stadium,
So. That's I guess kind of sad, but at the same time, I guess it's how it's funny. You go into a comedy club, they're not paying much either. They're still paying $15-$20 a set,
yeah.
And that doesn't cover that. Maybe covers your gas, maybe a 2-drink minimum, and the tip to the waitress.
Yeah.
So, how do you survive on that?
How
How does one in general? I don't want to put baby in the corner here.
Yeah.
How does one, if they're going to start out doing anything,
Mm-hmm.
because they've only heard my spiel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get somebody else's angle who is not a sarcastic asshole of the podcast. Somebody who actually has an actual talent, who can play guitar and who.
I am a sarcastic asshole.
Right.
I just don't have a podcast.
Right, but you can play guitar. You can work with a band, and you can book gigs. How do you encourage somebody, or at least give them the idea of? You'd have to treat it as almost. I told them it's like hitting the reset button. Somebody's gonna tell you no, hit the reset button and keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see it? Because you've been rejected, you've gone up there for free, you felt uncomfortable,
mm-hmm.
and how do you cope with that? And still to this day, cope with it.
It's honestly the same way that I look at like fitness and health.
Mm.
It sounds super cliche, but it's cliche for a reason.
Yeah.
Because it's just fucking right. It's goal oriented. You have a goal, you work towards that goal. And if boundaries come up, if somebody rejects you, if somebody says you're shitty, you can't play guitar or whatever, you just keep pushing, because your goal is not that person. Your goal is not that person's affection.
Yeah.
Or admiration, right? You're trying to lose weight, you lose 5 pounds, but your goal was 20, then you've got 15 to go. You just keep going.
What are your talent goals then? Because if your talent goes up, somebody else is going to recognize it, and you're going to want to ask questions. And if they're going to want to ask questions, somebody else is going to want to possibly book you. So what if you have? I assume that you have talent goals that you're trying to reach in order to get to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Or is there other things in the horizon that you'd rather be looking towards, and maybe this is more of a back burner thing for now?
Well, my ultimate goal, because I am a crazy hippie, I want to live in an earthship or a sustainable tiny home, off the grid, and just work on the land and grow my own food and live with a couple of dogs and not have to deal with people.
So you want to move to Alaska, is what you're saying?
No, I don't want to move to Alaska. I want to move to like California. I need the ocean.
How the fuck are you gonna do that and pay taxes? Have you ever been to California?
I want to live off the grid. I want to live in the woods.
You don't.
It's
The only thing you can live off of in California is the fucking state. That's it. If you move to California, all right, the first thing you need to do to go to California is you need to get infected with typhus and become homeless.
Yeah.
That is
Perfect.
the only way you're going to make money in the state of California.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I can do
those
that.
are your 2 goals. So as long as you check those boxes, you will do just fine in California. You'll eventually die of cholera.
Yep.
But besides that, you're fine.
Cholera.
Yeah.
When's the last cholera death?
I can Google it actually. Hold on. Let's look at the last cholera death. I was just in San Francisco. Believe me. Don't give up on it. It's just. I should have. I actually went to the travel clinics because I was like I asked them. I'm like, should I go to the travel clinic? Are you traveling to? I'm like, are you traveling to South Sudan? I'm like, no, I'm traveling to San Francisco. You're an asshole. All right, so let's Google last cholera. Well, there's outbreak and there's death. So let's do death and we'll do outbreak.
Okay,
All right.
Okay.
Cholera affects an estimated 3.5 million people worldwide and causes up to 130,000 deaths a year.
Oh, it's still
Jesus
going.
Christ!
It's still going. Okay. I thought this was like going in the way of like.
No, this dodo's alive and well, bro.
Oh shit.
So, all right, 13 more rows. That's not good. I'm surprised there's 1.
Oh no.
That guy is. Man, it looks like Muhammad Ali with AIDS.
Oh. I don't like that.
Let's take a look here. Let's see. Let me backtrack here. That one didn't work. Let's go to this one. WHO. Actually, you know what? Here's the thing. On this podcast, there's only a few trusted sources that I go to.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, one from CNET. Okay, cholera is an acute diarrheal disease that can kill within hours if left untreated.
Oh, why are we not studying this? Why are we not pursuing this? Where's the funding for cholera research?
It's got, I don't know.
It's horrible.
This has, let's see. Researchers have estimated that each year there are 1.3 to 4 million cases of cholera and up to 140,000 deaths due to cholera. 80% of cases can be successfully treated with basically Gatorade. Prevention, sanitary, blah, 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 nobody cares, die already. Cholera death, okay. A global strategy on cholera control with a target to reduce cholera deaths by 90% was launched in 2017.
Okay.
History during the 19th century, cholera strains. I'm looking for prevention and control, surveillance, treatment. Come on, give me the deaths already. Jesus Christ.
I can't tell you how many times I've yelled that.
I know. Let's see. More on this. Okay. You know what, WHO? You can kiss my ass. Deaths. 2015, there was 28,000 people who died from cholera.
To the friends and family of cholera victims, I'm sorry for my insensitive
And
approach to this subject.
Yeah. And on behalf of the and for the friends and family of those who died in cholera, you probably had it coming. Let's see. Last cholera outbreak, 1930. Okay, cholera broke out 27 times at Mecca from the 19th century to 1930. The sixth pandemic killed more than 800,000 in India. Jesus, that's a lot of curry. The last outbreak in the United States was 1910 to 1911, when the steamship Mocha brought infected people from Naples to New York City. That was one spicy meatball. So let's do last cholera. Last cholera positive. Let's see, United States.
Oh jeez.
Cholera. Blah 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 blah. 7 cholera pandemics, 7th pandemic. I don't want pandemics. That just means, oh shit. Okay.
That's not good.
Cholera is rare in the United States. Annual average 6 cases. Since epidemic, I can't believe we've gone this route. We went from playing guitar to playing heartstrings.
Oh, I do have something I want to talk about.
2010, Hispaniola, 23 cases caused by... So...
And all in San Francisco?
No. Can't, dude, San Francisco, they're still legit spraying shit off the sidewalks. It's disgusting. So yeah, cholera. Tricks for kids. What did you? I had some. Also for the kiddies listening, I have Q&A. I had some CNET articles. I wanted to go through the ingredients in Impossible Food because it's impossibly not healthy for you. And we may say goodbye to Neil Peart. Actually, we don't have a choice. He's already dead. And then we'll close up shop with. What's your name again? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Michael Wingate Seavey. So. Yeah, what did you want to bring up?
You asked me how to survive on like paying gigs, right?
Yeah,
as this industry is going down and down.
Just how everything's going down and down, because I think that the industry and life in general, and what is it? Life, liberty, and pursuit of meaning.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody should be going out and finding their thing that they can profit off of.
100%.
I don't want to go too far down that path, but there is legitimate truth to that about finding your own thing, because sitting in an office all day, ready to blow your brains out at a moment's notice. I don't know if you've ever. When was the last time you actually sat in an office?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time.
Do yourself a favor. You're better off homeless. Yeah. The idea that it's not worth it. To have that at least the pursuit of a dream is far more worth it. But how do you at least get through those? Because I'm not gonna have fucking Diana Ross come sitting here and tell her about the glitz and glamour and the cocaine.
Yeah.
I want to know the people going through the process of actually trying to get to that next level, and actually, to say to an audience, I live on this. This is how I pay my cell phone bill. This is how I afford my apartment. I don't have to go into work at 8 o'clock every fucking day and listen to these people bitch about their problems and their toenail infection and their fucking Medicare coverage. You get to be like, oh, I'm going to be playing at the jazz flute at 6 p.m. in front of 50 people. Cool, that's actually not that bad.
Yeah. Well, the trick is, and for all of you aspiring musicians out there listening and watching, the trick is you don't make your money from playing out. You just don't. You make your money from attacking music from other angles. You write music, you record music, you produce music, and then you sell that music. You sell it to companies for commercials. You sell it to film production companies for use in indie films. You lease your rights to your music. That's how you make money. That's how you get residuals. That's how you get royalties. That's where
Let's keep going on this, because I do have a question regarding YouTube stuff. So just go down that path until you hit a dead end, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, totally. Well, you use your live gigs as a springboard for building fan bases, right? You market yourself. You sell tickets to shows. You sell merchandise at shows. The way of the album is gone. So you write singles. You produce singles. You sell them online. You can go find my new single, Noah, on iTunes and Spotify and everything.
We can actually I can input that at the end of this episode if you want. If you want me to plug it, I'll put it at the end. So I did that for Joey Klamka when he did his country music song, I Love My Cat.
Cool.
So I can put that at the end of this if you want.
That's fine. I was just demonstrating a point.
No, we can do that. No, I always, if I do have somebody in here who has stuff, they are absolutely at the end of the show more than welcome to plug their gigs, your social medias, all that shit, because I do want people to find you guys, because I do want you guys supported, because it would be hypocritical of me trying to get my shit out there if I didn't allow you to get their shit out there. So we'll find that song, I'll rip it, and then we'll go ahead and go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going on that route, because there are people that, I need to get gigs, Maybe if you're fucking Slipknot, but not if you're a guy out there with a guitar and a fistful of dreams, and you need to sell shit, and you need to find buyers.
Yeah. Well, I have been lucky enough to, and have met enough people over the last 11 years of playing professionally that, when I play solo, I have an agent who books me, so I have to worry a lot less about, approaching people directly and writing emails and making phone calls about that. He takes a 15% cut of when I go, or 10, 20, I don't know. He takes a percentage cut of when I go play a gig.
So this is your agent or publicist or whatever?
I have an agent for when I play solo. My band, we do it all, ourselves, which is where a lot of that work is in the phone calls and emails. But that's just a springboard for fans. You make all of your money through other avenues. You make merchandise. You profit off merchandise. You need to run it like a store. You need to run your band like a bar.
Okay. And obviously you see everything. You see every dollar. You control all the overhead.
Well, for myself, yeah. The band is more of a collaborative kind of thing. But yes, absolutely. You need to be your own managers, and you need to be your own CEOs and CFOs and CTOs. You need to run everything about your band and be all in the minutia. And you need to attack it from every single angle, because if you don't, then you're just playing covers in bars in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, and that is not how you build a fan base, and that's not how you make your money.
So as far as it's never just tuning your machine, getting out there, playing, and then cleaning up and leaving. You're there, you're selling the merch, you're telling people. Like, for example, I saw Alan Fuchs. He played this small little comedy club. He's standing outside when people are leaving. He's telling people, follow me on my Instagram and all that shit. Mm-hmm. So you're out there plugging, you're selling merch. You're out there an additional 2 to 3 hours, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way I see it, and when I consult with bands, that's another way I make my money. I teach musicians how to market themselves, and I teach venues how to market their bands. So when I consult and I tell people what the work is in music, I always ask them, I say, what's your job? And they say, playing music. And that's not your job. Well, maybe it's selling tickets. Well, that's not really your job. Your job is getting heads in. Your job is promoting yourself. Your job is promoting the venue. Your job is bringing your gear in. Your job is taking your gear out. You get paid to bring people to the venue. You get paid to lift and haul your gear. Your reward is not money. Your reward is playing music. If you are at a point where you are good at your instrument, you are good at what you do, then your reward is playing. That is the fun. And it should always be looked at as the fun. It's not your job, because if it's your job, then you don't like playing.
So don't worry about the product. You're already good.
Yes.
And you already know that when you meet them. Mm-hmm. You've already seen the quality of their music or their material or whatnot.
And I'll be straight up if they're not. I'll be like, if you're not ready to be doing this, take some lessons, work on this, here's where you can work on.
Then come back.
Then come back to me, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you're not concerned with their product. At this point, you're just trying to allow them to focus more on the notoriety. Mm-hmm. All right, you need to go out there, and this is how you need to plug it. Mm-hmm. Okay. That actually makes more sense. Now, as far as the YouTube question, if you are more close with that thought, the YouTube thing is a huge thing, because as you know, I should have kept going with that sentence. It just ended with fucking. The idea that I have a separate playlist on my YouTube channel. It's private though. You've seen my playlist. I got 120 videos on there. There's one playlist that nobody sees, and it's my music playlist.
Okay. And
I'm constantly searching. There's non-copyright music. There's remixes that don't hit the YouTube algorithm. There's obviously the copyright music that people play. Mm-hmm. And then there's people like White Sands, who's a digital composer from
Ukraine.
Cool.
And then there's these other composers and these other musicians like Joakim Carew or DJ Quads or Andrew Apple Pie, and they start by making tracks and samples on YouTube, and then it's like free. You guys can use them in your YouTube videos. And then eventually, a lot of the time, some of these guys get so good at whatever material that they're putting out there, they eventually do get signed or to soundtracks to documentaries.
Well, yeah.
How would you approach, because if there's a guy who, let's say he's not good at playing guitar, but the guy knows how to program music. He knows how to go in here, he knows how to make the waves. And those waves sound really good. And then somebody like me picks up on those waves and uses them in a YouTube video that fits that vibe. If somebody was going to go that route, do you have thoughts about how they should control that? How much music they should release to the public? Like, go ahead, use that in your YouTube channel. It's cool. I'm going to go ahead and work on some other shit. You guys let me know what you think. Did you have an idea about how they should navigate that?
Yeah, well, you have to be constantly creating. If that's the route you're going to go, if you're not, you can springboard a fan base if you're a live musician by playing live shows. You can springboard a fan base as a digital musician if you're doing it entirely digitally, all through social media, all through fucking GarageBand or Ableton or whatever you use.
Yeah.
And you build these sounds. You
keep that thought too. I want to ask you about I want you to plug some programs that you recommend people use if they're going to go digi.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right, but keep going with that thought.
Honestly, you just need to be constantly creating all the time. It's always, you need to be putting content into the ether, right? If you are releasing one single per month, which is pretty solid and it takes a lot of work and production, but if you're doing it entirely digitally and you're doing like in the box recording, right? Then if you are releasing one single a month for people to buy, then you should be putting out like 5 songs a week. Like for people to work on. And it's not hard. It's not that hard because I can sit down.
Fuck you, it's not hard. You don't have an idea how I literally had a stroke. The idea of actually having 2 podcasts a week now as opposed to 1. I literally was pissing myself as I went to hit record. So you're telling these guys if they're that good and they want to become relevant, they gotta pump.
Yeah, content aggregation, tons of creation.
Now I would assume it would be much easier if they actually putting I would assume that if they knew how to play an actual instrument, it would be much easier to get those beats out into the computers.
Yeah, if what you are armed with is a MIDI keyboard and some sort of processing software, some sort of like a DAW program, and a MIDI keyboard, then you can create anything in any amount of time.
Okay. Because I always go back to Mick Gordon, who did the last soundtrack to Doom.
Yep.
And I just found it so fascinating that he went all the way back to when they had the first 8-bit soundtrack. If you guys don't know who Mick Gordon is or what Doom is, I just urge you, go to YouTube, go check out just look up Mick Gordon and look up his documentary, The Making of the Doom Soundtrack. Then you can basically go back and you can learn about Doom, why it was so popular, where did it go from here, and who the fuck Mick Gordon is, who is actually an Australian composer. He did Killer Instinct, he did Doom, he did Wolfenstein. And then but he's an excellent musician, where he actually went to like Russia, found like this old beep bop 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 tape machine. He turned that thing into an actual music player type of thing. He added it into the music, just to, I'm talking like my dad. I plugged it into the fucking system and the fucking thing didn't work. Piece of shit. But he made that part of the music of Doom. And then he took the actual guitar. It was like a 9-string, it's called a D-Gen, right?
Oh yeah.
D-Gen or whatever. Dijon mustard. So he took that fucking mayonnaise guitar. He took that and he plugged it into the computer, and then he had it distorted, like, not so much like a distortion pedal, but more like, think like 9 Inch Nails' Wish or Broken. And he created that type of noise. He digitized the noise to make it sound more digital. But it just sounded like chaos.
Yeah.
It sounded like pure chaos.
Well, that's Doom.
Right. So the idea of having a knowledge of knowing how to play instruments and then being able to implement that into a computer through GarageBand or whatever program is going to make it far easier, right?
Absolutely, it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are musicians out there that are creating content, that are creating like dubstep, and they're creating trap music that have no idea how to play any instruments.
All right.
I have a few in my head. Mind if I label them off?
Okay.
All right, let's start with the easy one. Skrillex.
Okay.
Does he? No, I'm actually asking. I'm gonna throw him up. You don't think he has?
I don't know.
No. I'm gonna ask that in terms of, does this person know how to play an instrument?
I don't know.
Skrillex.
I wish.
Be honest.
You're
You're never gonna meet him. He looks like fucking Billie Eilish with black hair.
That's true. I think he's using like computer programs. I think he's just really smart with math and understanding sine waves and understanding how to like.
Okay, so he's all there.
I think so. Yeah, I think he's in the box.
Who's the guy? Not Vigilante, but name of his band. I'm gonna look him up. Hold on. I got him in my thingy. Pull him up right here, real quick. The next one I want to come. Have you ever heard of the band called Dance of the Dead?
No.
That's a good one. You should look up. Dance of the Dead. From what I understand, the theme of it is like 80s synthwave.
Okay, cool.
So think like Charlie Sheen's The Wraith or Back to the Future. Not so much that Back to the Future, but definitely in that sci-fi genre.
Sure.
But they know how to play guitar.
Cool.
So they have the computers in the backdrop, but like much like Cell Dweller, like Clayton, they're playing guitars live.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So
cool.
that to me is more justified than just a keyboard warrior on stage.
Yep.
I get it, but I would generally say I don't know if I'd want to go see that because you're basically just going to a rave with an HP laptop. Well, people can go and you're full of drugs. Well, people can say the same thing about Pink Floyd. You're fucking full of drugs when you go to a Pink Floyd concert.
Oh.
So what would it matter if there's 7 guys and 3 black chicks on vocals in the background?
Right.
You're fucking full of drugs. You don't know what's going on. Flying pigs! You know, it's the same shit. You're just full of drugs to experience this.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get me. The thing is Pink Floyd their music is good, drunk or sober. Their music is insane. But to go and see, I'm gonna look at this guy up right now. I actually have him in my hidden play. Well, I did. Let me see here. Let me go back to my other channel on YouTube, Positive Sarcasm, and I'm gonna go and look up the music. Can't believe I can't remember this. I go through so much. I literally will just hit the like button and the add to playlist button, and I move immediately on to the next one.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's go to music. I just know the song, but I keep forgetting the dude. It's gonna pop up right here. Who's the? Oh, Zardonic.
I don't know it.
All right, he's got. If you don't know who Zardonic is, Zardonic has he looks like Predator on stage. He has a white mask. He's got, and then it's crossed black in the middle, and he has his dreadlocks like Predator. Only his dreadlocks are RCA cables.
Oh my god, that's really clever. Why are all these dubstep and trap artists wearing like big masks and like helmets and?
I think it's because they pose a presence. Like if you noticed where Slipknot and Mushroom Head back in the late '90s came out on stage, and they only wear masks now. Now Slipknot has always done that, and that is part of their vibe. But I think to go out there in costume like that, number one, if you do that once, I think you have to always do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I really do. I think
Consistency, yeah.
Right. And I think the fact that Mushroom Head is still around is because they always do that. And I think, although they're not, I think music-wise, they're not, they don't hit like Slipknot does. Slipknot's always in costume, bro. Bands like Mudvayne, after their first album, abandoned the masks entirely. Plus, it was not really masks. It was just paint and cosmetic. It was like fucking Star Wars characters.
Sure.
And now I don't even think they exist anymore. But Zardonic is one of them. I've never seen him play a guitar. I've never seen him in studio. I should probably do more work on him. But I would assume that if you know how to play the music actually on an actual instrument, you'd probably be better understanding it when you go to plug it into the computer.
Oh, definitely. Like a basic understanding of the concepts of like music theory. Just basic music theory will help you enormously. But that can be deceiving too, because like, you know who I really respect is like turntablists, like not just DJs, like real turntablists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? They've got their Chaos Pad, they've got their mixer, they've got everything running right in front of them.
Not like a strip club DJ. We're talking about actual mixed master mics.
Like, yes, exactly. So like one of my closest friends in the music industry, DJ Iculus, he's a turntablist, and if he doesn't bring his saxophone, he's a killer saxophone player. But if he doesn't bring his saxophone on stage with him, you wouldn't know that he plays instruments because he's working on these on these digital. They're not actual records. It's like a whole digital setup. But he's like spinning and doing all this work and doing all this like scratch work and incredible like mixing, and it's beautiful to watch and really cool to like listen to.
Now, does that saxophone get fucked up on stage, or is it just sort of there as a prop?
No, he plays. He
So
plays
he plays it. So he's like that Norwegian dude in that weird techno band.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Okay, so actually, wait, why was I thinking of Lizzo? Oh, because her fat ass came out on stage one day in a stripper gear. She's like, bitch! And she's like, what, she got a flute? She got a fucking jazz flute,
That's
right?
insane. She pulled some Ron Burgundy shit, pulled it out her sleeve.
She pulled that out of something.
I do respect that. She's an
entertainer,
but she's got some fucking stamina, bro.
Yeah,
She's killing it.
fucking rice-a-roni stamina. So that was 40 minutes. That was 40 minutes right there.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
So, unless you have other thoughts on musician, notoriety, nutrition, all that other shit, we can definitely jump on some other things before we close up shop. Because we just did a solid 40 on a Sunday afternoon.
That's really good. I still want to talk about Beyond the Impossible.
You want to do that?
I do want to talk about that. Because as a vegan, I've got some thoughts that you might want to hear.
Yeah. When did you tell your parents you were gay, by the way? So, that was calculated. Alright, so I was in the deli, not the deli section, I was in the meat section the other day over at the store. And I was like, there's got to be some bison around here. Obviously, there was a bison in aisle 6 for sure, by the way. So, once I did that, I found it. Next to it, I was looking for some piggy. But I found there was a package of, like, Beyond Meat. I'm like, alright, let me look at the label, because I always have my suspicion, let me just look at the label, look underneath.
See what it's made of.
Yeah.
How the sausage is made.
I gotta tell you, I was not too pleased. So the idea is that if it's below a certain marker, it doesn't have to be included necessarily in the ingredients category, including the FDA. It doesn't have to be included in the total percentages of caloric intake. So if it reaches below a marker, it doesn't have to be included.
Sure.
Like, for example, when it just says natural flavors, what the fuck is natural flavors?
It's not enough to warrant. I got you.
So this was the ingredients for Beyond Meat. One of them anyway. So we got water, pea protein isolate, expeller pressed canola oil. This is when the shit starts going downhill.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the thing: if you Google, you can easily Google, is canola oil healthy for you? Now, before you even bother Googling it, I'm going to tell you the flat out fucking answer. No, it's not. It's not. Canola oil is a processed vegetable oil. All right, which includes things like peanut oil, which I will fully admit I use a drop of that in my peanut butter because it helps the blender spin up. But then again, it's fucking peanuts, bro. Come on. Not you, bro, but the other bro. Bro. So we'll move on to that.
The royal bro.
Because they say it's low in saturated fats. Saturated fats are actually good for you.
Right.
Trans fats are what's bad, but they're banned. Next, refined coconut oil. That's basically just motor oil. It's completely fucking useless. Once it's refined and processed, it takes all the nutrients out of it.
Yes.
And it's basically MCT oil with even less nutrients. So basically, you're just eating KY jelly. So expeller pressed canola oil, refined coconut oil, rice protein. What kind of rice protein? What quality of rice protein?
We don't know.
We don't know. Natural flavors. There it is again.
Love it.
Cocoa butter, which I rub on my nuts. Mung bean protein. What the fuck is a mung bean?
Mung beans.
Mung beans.
Full of protein, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Methyl cellulose, potato starch, apple extract. No, let the silence sit on that one. Apple extract. Moving on.
Yeah.
Apple extract, salt,
Great.
potassium chloride. Oh, that sounds promising. Vinegar. Okay, cool. Lemon juice concentrate. Sunflower lecithin. Sunflower lecithin is a notorious filler. Most sunflowers and most legume and seed-based stuffs are estrogen. What they call testosterone inhibitors. Which basically any vegetable is a estrogen binder.
Right.
Basically any vegetables, any legume that you eat, basically that's why a lot of people go carnivore. They see that's another thing altogether. Pomegranate fruit powder, beet juice extract for color. So it took a village to make this fucking $11 a pound beyond my comprehension of what the fuck is in these ingredients.
Yes.
That was one. And then there was yesterday at CES, which is a expo for nerds. Me happening to be a super nerd, which is why I have magic cards on my coffee desk.
Love it.
Is the CNET article by Clifford Colby. 6 things you didn't know about the plant-based pork meat substitute. Now, full transgression? No. Full disclosure. Transgression. I gotta look that up. Full disclosure, in this place right now, we have somebody who is on a high-fat diet, and we have somebody who's on a strictly plant-based diet. Okay. So, also full disclosure, we have a person here who's 6 feet tall and one person who's 6'5". I just thought I'd throw that out there.
That's good.
So, okay, here's the thing. In the beginning of these articles, it's all fluff and other YouPorn bullshit in the very beginning, where they just kind of like, ooh, they try to make some quirky, terrible jokes in the beginning. So I try to blah 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 through it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the whole podcast I run.
No,
Let's see. Faux white meat, Impossible Foods, the brand behind last year's Impossible Burger 2.0 craze. Okay, now they call for ground pork. They roll out Impossible Sausage later. Impossible Sausage.
Is my nickname.
I know a few NBA players who have Impossible Sausages. Beyond Meat are shaking up. Let's see. Rising climate change. Yeah, okay, fine. Livestock accounts for 14.5 greenhouse gas emissions, which they're trying to curb that with some type of seaweed that they're going to shove down the cows' throats. I talked about factory farming actually about last week, and I did want to re-up since you're here. There is a thing about when it comes to like factory farming and just farming in general. Number one, do I like the cruelty to animals? Cruelty to animals is how they're treated when they're slaughtered. Okay? I'm not a fan of seeing a fucking pig get kicked in the balls before his head's chopped off and he's bled out.
Nope.
Okay, I'm not a fan of that. There is a balance to everything that we do. Okay, that includes if we're digging up lithium batteries to power Tesla cars, or if we're pulling fossil fuels out of the ground to power my Mustang. Okay, there is a balance. If it's all Tesla, it's not going to be good because the next thing you know, Argentina's not going to have any land to sit on. If we do too much fossil fuel, then that can get us into wars, that can get us into sanctions. Even though we produce much of our own oil nowadays, at the end of the day, it is all about balance.
Yes.
So if there's a Tesla parked in that driveway next to the Mustang, cool with that. Totally cool with that. Matter of fact, I propose that they have a cleaner ideal for fuel, like E85 to power that Stang. I'm all for it. Okay? It's all about balance. It's not about what one thing does or another. The fact that we are eventually going to top out at 9 billion people, and the idea that a lot of countries now are not reaching, they're actually losing population. Like China, for example, I think is losing population. Probably because they kill so many Muslims. The idea also that yes, yeah, I fucking said it. They don't listen. China doesn't listen to this podcast. Well, they can't listen to this podcast because of the censors. All right, so they launched it here. Let's see. I'm actually going to say something. I'm going to say something. Okay. Impossible Foods, its main competitor, Beyond Meat, they're shaking up the technology industry. Do they say anything about actually what it is? Burger, okay. Launched here at CES, Impossible Burger 2.0 is now available in more than 7,000 Burger King locations, which that burger pumps out 20 times more estrogen than the actual Whopper in general, which if you're eating that, you're just destined to die a horrible, miserable death. I've really stopped eating fast food altogether. And I have a thought in that I want to relay from last week's podcast, and I want to see if you kind of climb on board with it.
Okay.
The plant-based burger acts like ground beef with similar appearance, texture, and color. We had a chance to try the Impossible to work in a variety of preparations, like sandwiches and dumplings. Dumplings would be good. From the taste to the cost to where to buy it, here's what we do and don't know about the substitute meat. Alright, what does it taste like? Probably tastes like pork. What is it made of? Like the Impossible, pork is soy, sunflower, coconut oils as fat sources, probably refined. The other ingredients contain binders and flavorings, including heme. Oh, I thought that was a Jewish slur for a second. That's another one I'll take. We're one word off. One word off. According to Impossible Foods, this is a molecule that gives beef that familiar meaty taste and smell when cooked. Modified yeasts, soybean a legume molecular. Okay. Oh, it's an oxygen carrier in legumes. So you don't get all the legume, but you get plenty of gas still. Poultry, U.S. meat, and then Impossible pork, healthier than meat from pigs. They list the caloric intake stuff, which actually doesn't really matter because the protein synthesis, the actual all-around protein that you're versing one or the other is in many ways the same, but it's in many cases completely different. Because there was an argument made by that guy who did that Impossible documentary on Netflix. When you get factory meat, yes, it is supplemented by other, like these animals, these factory animals are supplemented. Whether it's with antibiotics, or with steroids, or with B12, or what have you. Then again, when you are planting when you're planting like kale in the ground, you're planting plants in the ground, that's supplemented by cow shit, horse shit. So it is definitely, like I said, there's an evil twin in all these situations. So these caloric comparisons and protein and carb shit, it doesn't really reach the heart of the actual problem. Now, you have your reasons for eating plant-based. Maybe it's you want a cleaner diet.
I wouldn't say you're naturally virtue signaling. I wouldn't go and accuse that of you. If the lead singer of OTEP was sitting here, I would definitely accuse her of virtue signaling.
Fair. Okay.
But the idea that there are a lot of people that do eat plant-based.
Mhm.
Now, the guy who's going to be playing the next superhero in the Marvel comic thing, I think he was a vegan or whatnot. But also, he's filled full of fucking steroids.
Yeah, right.
So, here's the idea. There's a lot of products out there that are plant-based. A lot of my diet is plant-based.
Yeah.
I need fucking kale.
Same.
In my diet, I need a lot of cruciferous vegetables. The idea that a lot of these vegetables have, they are friendly to the lady in me per se, and then you offset that with a carnivorous diet helps me a lot in my workouts, in my dietary lifestyle, and also helps me, to be honest, helps me lose that weight and just be in a better mood. Helps my recovery in a lot of ways. And I try my very best to stay away from the shittiest foods possible.
Right.
Let's just say, for example, can we agree that the vast majority, 90% of fast food companies, the food is bad. It's dog shit.
It's not just bad tasting, it's bad for you.
Right. What if at all of them, since there's shit there and us normal people with common sense don't fucking eat there, when I talk about those companies, I'm talking about like McDonald's, Wendy's, probably not Arby's because that's a little more. We don't, MAGA hat.
Right.
So the idea that we'll exclude Arby's, but definitely those fast foody joints.
Yeah.
If they all switched, do you think that'd be a significant benefit to the balance of animal and plant if they all just went with this impossible shit? Because they're serving shitty
Just
food
impossible
anyway.
shit? If they went.
If they just went, every single one of their foods just went fucking plant-based. For example, McDonald's, their chicken nuggets, Taco Bell, their meat, Burger King, their sandwiches. If it went all impossible shit, let's just face it, a KFC bucket of chicken is not what it used to be, bro.
Oh, no.
So let's just say they all went completely plant-based.
Yeah.
Do you think there would be a balance that could be reached with all those shitty companies? Like, think of the amount of, like, for example, the 50-50 beef that you probably get at Taco Bell. 50% of that is actually beef. What are the conditions for the animals, the demand that Taco Bell wants? So what instead, I'm assuming that like, for example, you can buy eggs that are $3.99 a dozen, or you can buy the ones that are $1.19. The ones that are $1.19, I wouldn't fucking eat anymore.
Right. So you're suggesting that all of these companies, the biggest supporters of inhumane slaughtering practices.
You get what you pay for, essentially.
Right.
Those companies, those like the McDonald's,
Yes.
the freaking Taco Bells.
Yes. And these are the ones that pump the most money into the horrible epidemic of animal cruelty.
Right, allowing for more proper treatment of animals by the companies and the people who appreciate the product that's being put on the table.
So meat is no longer a fast food thing. You can no longer get a fast food meat burger.
Whether it's not so much through regulation, but just by the mere fact that nobody is going there anymore
Right.
because of whatever's in the food.
Sure.
But what's the overall? But to get to the end game here, those companies don't even put meat in their food anymore.
Perfect.
It's all.
Well, so the companies that
It's all this shit.
Right, with the pea protein isolate. Yeah, so now the companies that do use meat are the people who care about the quality of their meat. They care about the stress hormones.
Allen's Brothers, the Steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse,
Sure.
Hunters, the organic meat markets. Those people that actually put quality into the produce and they actually give a fuck about the animals.
Yeah, so giving power to farmers rather than slaughterhouses.
Sure, or slaughterhouses that actually are owned by humane.
Sure.
But also decreasing, you're decreasing the demand by these companies that basically 60-40 their meat, which is, in my opinion, welfare meat. Okay, it is. It's fucking welfare meat.
No, I got you.
Do you think you're gonna find 73-23 in my freezer? I don't think so. But the idea of establishing a new standard where if you want to sell your product, any product, it's got to be good. Whether you're selling a single on iTunes or you're selling a London broil to me, it has to be better quality. The only way you're going to get better quality out of that steak is to have a better quality animal, which means that animal has to be treated better. Do you think there would be significant all around better place if those companies, we're talking think about it. From the amount of food, the amount of animal product that gets sent to Hannaford's or Kroger's or Food Lion or Publix,
Sure.
compared to the amount of food that gets pumped to McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Taco Bell, KFC. Do you think it would be a drastically different overall environment if those companies strictly just went along their way to feeding shitty food to shitty people like they've already been doing?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I think as long as it's not like super heavy soy based, because soy farming is gonna destroy the rainforest, but
Another topic there. And first of all, no matter what you do, soy is like the ultimate perpetrator. But the thing is, soy is pretty much in a lot of those products, anyways. Another thing on top of that is soy. 90% of the soy products are owned by Monsanto. I've already gone down this rant. We all know who Monsanto is. They make all the pesticides and all that shit. And another thing for anytime there is a field of plants, it has to be protected. First of all, it has to be cultivated, which means the animals go bye-bye if they're in that. Means those tillers, those giant fucking nightmare-looking tillers from Terminator, they go rolling there, and then they chew up all the rabbits and shit. And then the pesticides got to be killed. They go over there and kill all those fucking animals.
Right.
So there is but the balance of, first of all, I would rather have a local farmer be doing the slaughtering than a company like Monsanto.
hell yeah.
And also another, I throw this in there as a topic, or just as a note, an educational note. You can't just have the same product, the same plant being grown every single year. You have to till that soil to something new, or eventually the soil dries up.
Yeah, you have to do like nutrient rotation.
Right. I think that was an issue in Cuba with the cigars.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, because they didn't all the like irrigation and rotation techniques kind of like went with all of the master growers who left Cuba.
So, do you think a company like Monsanto, if we got rid of the soybeans, because if they, a good thought would be if all the fast food companies went to making these shit products, they already make shit products for people who eat shitty food. So, fuck it, let it. Free country, let them eat shitty food, who cares? I don't know how that would affect a company like Monsanto. I'm assuming they have corporate lobbying, and I'm assuming they have control of certain things. But the idea of trying to get these soy products out of the food that I eat, because here's the thing, when I go and buy food, I'm not concerned about just what's on this label. I'm concerned about the shit that I can't see.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
Well,
and I'm willing to go the extra mile and the extra dollar. I'm willing to do that if that means my product is better. And if my product is better, guarantee that your product's can be better too.
Right.
So I'm thinking that would be an interesting approach. If they want to go this route, let them go that route.
100%.
And as far as Monsanto, they're eventually going to get sued into the ground or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about soy, my biggest concern with fully going plant-based is the idea of your epigenetic concerns. Not conclusions, just concerns.
Sure.
The epigenetics of how is that going to get translated down the road to the new breed of humans that are coming up? Who controls that food? The same thing with lab-grown meat. I am open to the idea of lab-grown meat. Who controls it? What companies are selling it? What does this mean down the line? What are they putting in the food? What are they putting in my food now that I don't know about? And then also the fact that, overall, who is controlling this food? Who's monopolizing when I go to the grocery store the shit that I buy? That it concerns me every time that I walk into the grocery store and the food that I pick out, and trying to stay away from the middle there, because I don't want to be supporting shitty beef jerky companies. I don't want to be supporting companies that make shitty eggs and stuff like that. I want to go the extra mile to push that demand of saying, hey, we want better quality product.
Yeah, well, now we're going back full circle to like my life goal, which is just growing all of my own food, because I want to be in control.
Right.
I want 100% to be in control of what goes into my body. I want to know exactly where it came from, what went into growing it. That's exactly what I want to know.
So your idea of the reason you went plant-based, I'm jumping to you, I'm what are they called? Leading the witness. Even though you're not on trial. The idea of you going out, if you're not relying on factory farming or any farming, if you want to tend to your own sheep, you tend to your own sheep.
Yeah.
You want to plant your own garden, your own tomatoes, your own garlic, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
You just don't want to rely on anybody.
I just want to rely on the earth and myself.
Okay. Do you have a timeline, an idea for when you want to do that?
And when it happens, it happens. I'm going to keep working towards it until I can afford to do it, and then I'll do
Eventually just find a plot in Maine and call it a day?
it. Yeah, something like that.
I mean, because you literally could go get yourself satellite internet and make your music and do all that shit nowadays.
Yeah.
And you could still be a part of society while being away from it.
Yeah.
And I totally get that. I totally understand even though we're up here on the second floor, the idea that it's just us here on this second floor in this spare part studio, not worrying about a fucking thing other than the fact that we're in the middle of a town that has some issues of its own.
Sure.
But the idea of not having too many concerns about what's going on around you, being in control of everything that you do. The responsibility of your own life is completely your own and nobody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost does it make you uncomfortable having to rely on other people?
Absolutely.
It gives you anxiety, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes away any kind of like sensible or reasonable control that I want to have. You know, not that controlling everything is a need. It's just like you want to control certain facets of your life, and having that completely relinquished from you is absolutely anxiety riddling.
Okay. What would you say to? I would say to the people who are on the carnivore side, not the balance bill. I'll say to the people on the carnivore side, do your thing. Just shut up and do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Eat your food. If you want to hunt, hunt.
Sure.
Go ahead, live your diet. It's like anything else. It's like being religious. Don't signal it. There is something about that makes me uncomfortable, like praying in public. I don't even want to see you pray in public. To me, it's uncomfortable. To me, you're putting out a message that you don't necessarily need to be putting out.
Sure.
You need to live your life the way you want to live it, as long as you are not bothering anybody else with your bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
The idea to vegans, in general, or people who are heavy on the plant-based side, vegans, vegetarians,
mm-hmm.
I would say to them, and I want to get your idea of what you want to say to them. You do what you do. Do what you want to do. Don't press it upon others, because your diet and your lifestyle and your immune system and your gut biome is completely your own to control.
Absolutely.
Now, that's where I want to leave it. I don't want to be like get off my lawn type of guy, because generally I can ignore most of the shit that's out there, because there's so much. I mean, sorry vegans, bullshit out there.
True.
That's an old quote. The grass is always greener on the other side because it's fertilized in bullshit.
That's true.
So I cannot stress enough. I want you to have a final say on this. What you would say to them. Find your passion. Find the things that you want to do. The way you want to treat your body. The way you want to treat your dreams, your meaning, your own pursuit, as your own individual pursuit and nobody else's.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to jump on the fan train and roll with you, then be open, suspicious, but open to them joining in with you. Otherwise, you'll be more nomadic than you anticipate, and it'll actually hinder your progression as an artist, as a comedian, as a podcaster, or a carpenter. Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
You'll have your moments of solitude when you're completely by yourself. And if you want to be one or the other, if you want to be a carnivore because you have a severe autoimmune disorder and this is what you can survive on, which is intermittent fasting with fat fucking ribeyes, or if you're plant-based because for whatever reason. Like my mother she's not like the fake gluten-free. She's actually got that sciatic shit. Not sciatic, that's fucking nerve. That's what I have. She's celiac. Thank you. So she has that. She eats that that fucking pasta, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's fine, and she can still. It's great because it allows the market to innovate. It's like, wait a minute, we don't have to fill this noodle-roni with Wonder Bread type pasta, which is filled with so much gluten, it's toxic for your stomach.
Right.
We can actually innovate, make it just as good as an al dente as a regular serving of penne.
Sure.
But it innovates the market to where she can still eat that stuff that caters to her.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Innovation is fucking sweet. But what would you say to the ones that are the triggering vegans? Do you have a thought to them as far as how to, just in general, if you had a word to say to them, if they were to
Because at the end of the day, they could damage your goal of the dream that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not living in a van down by the river, but living in a tiny house down by the stream.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I mean, honestly, pushing your ideas on somebody else without them asking for it, like these unsolicited ideas of meat is murder and attacking other people because of their diet. It's not the right way to go about it. I give people advice when they ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
So or like there are a couple scenarios where I will talk about my diet and why my diet is what it is. And one of them is when somebody directly asks me, hey, what is it? I know you're a vegan. What is it like? How do you do it? Where do you get your protein from? That's where do you get your protein, bro? That's like the normal.
It's like the most annoying thing.
I know.
They have to understand protein synthesis. They have to understand glucogenesis when you eat too much protein.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of actually getting a complete profile. Hemp versus pea versus soy,
Mm-hmm.
soy versus poultry versus red meat versus pork. And that is another thing where you have to learn your own body. You have to learn the difference, when to eat them, how long they take to digest in your gut, your gut biome in general, how you mix and match them. The fact that protein is not and should never be considered an energy source.
No, God no.
That's another thing, because they don't understand when they take into account all you eat is meat. Yeah, but that's not the energy source. The energy source comes from the amount of fat on that meat.
Mm-hmm.
The energy source from a vegan comes from a lot of the supplementation that they take and the carbs, because there are more carbs when you eat like plant-based product. When you eat like legumes,
Mm-hmm.
you eat legumes. There's a lot of carbohydrates in those legumes.
Yep.
And depending upon the color of your vegetables, it means there's more sugar in those vegetables, which means you can get energy from those. Because sugar is a carb, carb is a sugar.
Right. Simple sugar.
So it changes your glucose profile dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
You follow that, you're gonna be okay. My biggest concern will always be what was it? Yeah, the estrogen profile.
Sure.
Okay. Because I don't want to disrupt my natural epigenetics because of that. My natural epigenetics, my genetics, my diet, and I get it. The ease of the convenience of having a meat-based diet, believe me, it's there. Okay? It's real fucking easy.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with searching for better product and paying a little bit more if it means because if I'm paying for more quality, the only benefactor is me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying for a better quality of food. I'm going to have a better quality body.
Sure.
And we all know that I'm a fucking lunatic when it comes to nutrition and shit like that.
So that's fair.
I've even talked about my eating disorder. It's not even it is an eating disorder, because it's like, there's plenty of food. There's always going to be food. I can go right down to the store. I'm constantly in Hannaford's. I'm constantly fucking eating.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's I'm at somebody else's house and I see all these, and I know they got junk food in there. And then just next thing you know, you're dipping mints and peanut butter, and you're just going out of control.
Yeah.
Do you think? Here's a one final thought. Do you think that the people that are on this shitty vegan diet can turn around and start getting on a better diet overall, whether it is plant-based or balance-based?
Absolutely. I mean, like, if you're going full plant-based and you're eating shitty, I mean, you're kind of defeating the purpose. But the way I see, like...
Well, processed-based versus plant-based. I think there should be a definitive marker between the two.
For sure. Well, the way that I see, like, the Impossible Burger, right? These plant-based meats and plant-based cheeses and stuff, right? The way that I see that is like, it's an every now and then kind of thing.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't eat a cheeseburger every day.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why would you consider eating an Impossible Whopper every day? That's not how you actually get good nutrients. That's not how you treat your body right. I eat a lot of fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
And I cook them in a bazillion different ways, and I'm happy and content with that. If I go to a barbecue and somebody's like making burgers, sure, I'll go to the store and I'll pick up a couple of plant-based burgers so I can fit in. Because most of the like the veggie burgers out there that you can get at the store, unless you're like making the patties yourself, they blow. I haven't found a good one.
But you're trying to make it you're trying to make it as convenient as possible. Trying to listen, I don't want to,
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
We are at actually on the Nixon watch here. We're at 5:05. I don't know if you wanted to finish up with one Q&A.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we'll finish up with one Q&A, and then I'll get you out of here because us dreamers, we all got a schedule to keep. All right, let's see. I got one good one here. I probably do. Washington Post. Let's get it right. Flipping off our deck. Okay, fucking. All right, let's just play this one because it's right here. All right, dig Q&A. Should my sister forgive her mother-in-law for flipping off our dad at her wedding? My sister was married recently. At the reception, her new mother-in-law was seen by multiple guests gesturing with her two middle fingers while the father of the bride was giving his toast. It was a very formal event, and it was shocking to see an adult act like this. Our family feels embarrassed and insulted because we hosted the wedding, but our biggest concern is how can the bride move forward? When the groom politely approached his mom about a week after the wedding, she refused to acknowledge it, insisting it was an inside joke, and then gave him a long list of complaints about our family. I suppose there were justifications for her behavior. She refuses to apologize. I feel she should extend an olive branch and apologize to my sister and our parents, but at the very least make amends with her new daughter-in-law. It upsets me that she doesn't care about building a good relationship with my sister. My sister was brought up to take responsibility for her actions. It's hard for her to move on when her mother-in-law refuses to speak of it. Should she really just act like nothing happened?
Ooh,
Alright.
This is delicious.
This is what pisses me off about fucking people at weddings. This is all about two people.
Mm-hmm.
There should never be any mention about anything, any of the people, the extended family in the crowd. Never. And when you go and do something like that, it only justifies what do you call them? Destination weddings or getting drunk and waking up in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question was, should she apologize for flipping off another family at a wedding?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that like a real question? Absolutely.
That's a real question posed by a real person with real problems.
Oh my god. Hachi-machi. Yes, absolutely. You need to apologize.
Yeah. I'm assuming that this is very. I'm assuming that one part of the family probably isn't on the same, I guess, pay scale overall. I think we got maybe some Trailer Park Boys situation going on.
Gotcha.
He married. Okay, the sister. Let's see. My sister was married recently at her new mother-in-law. Okay, so I think it was the guy.
Okay.
The guy's mother
Mhm.
was being a bitch.
Okay.
Apparently. So apparently she married down.
Okay.
All right. So I give that marriage, first of all, 2 years. The idea that it's an inside joke, I don't buy it for a second.
No.
You don't flip people off at a wedding, especially if there's a videographer.
No, you need to burn all the footage and they need to get a divorce.
Well, I don't think you need to get a I don't think
It's over. The marriage is ruined now.
I don't think you need to get a divorce, but I think definitely. I always insist on if the family is that shitty, just don't even fucking talk to them. Don't include them in your life. Get rid of them altogether. Pull a royal wedding. Don't invite your family at all.
Perfect.
Just completely cut ties with them. I think even when it comes to family, if there's shitty people in your life, especially when they refuse to apologize and not be the bigger lady, which I'm assuming she already is quite the tundra, the idea that she needs to apologize, I think at this point you just need to cut them out of your life. Why would you even want to go and insist and waste your energy on something that ridiculous? These people exist!
I can't believe it. I do believe it. I know people like this exist. It's
Yes.
just, it hurts me to
This is a
think
real
about-
situation there, Neil Patrick Harris. You need to understand that these people are so fucking retarded that they would actually flip off another family member at a wedding and then lie about being an inside joke. That means, oh, it's an inside joke. You need to get over it. No, you need to fuck off.
Yeah, you need to like have a little bit of dignity and respect.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's obviously not gonna happen. I wish you all the best with your sister, and
God.
I hope he signed it. I hope she. Apparently, I think in this situation she's the one who makes more money, so I hope she signed a prenup.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, that's right. The guy never gets the money in the divorce. That's okay. Michael Wingate CV. Plug all your dates. Plug all your stuff. Tell them where you can find you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever your information is.
Yeah, you can find me. My artist name is Michael Wingate. You can find me anywhere on any streaming service, anywhere you can buy music. You can also find my band Slack Tide at all the same locations. Yeah, that's about it. You follow me on Instagram, wingate.music.
Wingate.music. All right. We're coming up on 1 hour and 14 minutes on this Sunday leftover. Well, Sunday. You can find. If you want to support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Go and check out my posing music on, my website, positivesarcasm.com. What the fuck else would you find it? You can also find me on YouTube at Positive Sarcasm or Positive Sarcasm Podcast. You can see the clips that I upload every couple days, actually, on the Instagram at positive_sarcasm. You can also be my friend on Facebook.com/positivesarcasm and Facebook.com/POS sarcasm. You can't find me on Twitter because I had a problem and I had to make it go away. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, you can follow me. You can email me at positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Follow me on all the social medias that I claim to be on. You can also follow me on ThinkSpot, which just opened up to the beta users. But until then, you can find me on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, every fucking podcast network. I'm on it. So no excuses. But until then, thank you to Michael Wingate TV for stopping by the Spare Parts Studios. Until then, streaming live twice a week. I will talk to you guys in a few days. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation. And that's how you do that.
That was fun. Good shit, dude.
Let me finish that one off, and then let me end the stream. I will see you